moderator. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you at this important meeting. And I want to start by, first of all, commending the leadership of Mayor Manuel Robles Delgado for the creation of this interaction, and not above all for the continuation, making sure that it's held every year. I'm going to speak on one of the issues that has arisen from the submissions made by Professor Carlos Bezosa and Dr. Kurt Keith. I want to address one of the issues that can and will, if it is done properly, lead to a major and significant development in Africa, and it's a population and poverty. You've all heard about the different diversity of Africa, the contrasts. Africa is seen or heard of in Europe and in the North by many as if it were just an entity, but it is not, as you have very well heard today. There are parts of Africa, and where my office is based, and by the way, to say that our office is in South Africa, it's a regional office for Africa, it is not in Senegal. In our office in Johannesburg, when you walk out and when you look around, what you see is not the type of Africa you hear about on TV or on the radio. Indeed, what you see is more like the Beverly Hills of California. It's more like New York, where we used to be, in Manhattan. It's more like the best part of Madrid, the best part of London or Paris. And it is Africa. And it is not unique to South Africa. There are a few countries in Africa that have such Western, beautiful cities. At the same time, you do see, when you move beyond these beautiful cities and central locations, you do see other areas. Take even Johannesburg. There's a part of Johannesburg that is called Alexandra Township. When you get there, you see the type of situation that is being described by the other panelists, where people live on $1 a day, or people don't even live at all, because the difference between life and death is a few seconds or a few minutes, depends on where you find yourself at any given point in the day or night. So Africa is diverse, it's contrast, it's developed and underdeveloped, it's rich and it's poor. But I want to emphasize one issue that we want to bring to your attention especially. First, that Africa has witnessed a very rapid growth rate overall, as Dr. Kurt said just now. The international institutions that assess growth all over the world see many countries in Africa as averaging what you call growth rate of above 5%, sometimes 7%. Indeed, more growth than many Western countries have seen in the last 5 to 10 years. Some parts of Africa, some countries in Africa grew in certain years by about 36%. Equatorial Guinea is one of them. Nigeria grew by about 7%, and so on and so on. Now, you ask the question, what has this growth translated into? Growth has translated into the kind of Africa that I described earlier in Johannesburg. When you go to some of our cities today, you see tall buildings, you see very good roads, you see electricity, you see water flowing. However, when you move beyond these centers, you see the Alexandra Township everywhere, whether it's Nairobi, or it's in Dakar, or it's in Lagos, or Lusaka. The same places that were poor remain poor, sometimes poorer, despite the overall growth rate. So you begin to question, what does growth rate mean? And how does it translate into overall growth? What does macro growth rate mean if families are poorer, if individuals have no jobs, if many young people have no schools, no education, no health services, and many no future? They don't know where they're going to be and what they're going to do in 10 years. And that's why one of the reasons you find many Africans walking for months to cross to Europe, leaving their countries to engage on a journey that they don't know whether it will end at all or whether it will end in death. And they walk and walk and walk to cross deserts, to cross countries, because they believe that there is salvation in Europe. Because the macro growth that we see has not translated into micro, into the growth in the lives of individuals. So there's a challenge today in Africa about what does macro growth mean in terms of people's well-being. And one tribute, one subset of that question is the question about population. In the last 15 years, it became not fashionable to look at the population situation in Africa anymore. Why? Because the idea of family planning, the idea of population growth became stained and became characterized by some discussion around whether there is a plot or some wish to bring down Africa's population and to reduce the population so that Africa will not have the kind of population that it desires to be able to move along in the world. And so the idea of population growth became more fashionable. And that was encouraged by HIV and AIDS. And what do I mean? When HIV and AIDS got into Africa, and like it was in many parts of the world, and people started dying, some people thought this could be one thing that will bring down Africa's population. It will reduce population growth, and Africa's population, many millions will die, and therefore Africa will have a population that is smaller, much smaller than what it was expected to have. However, the reality today is different. By all analysis, AIDS is still a major problem. It's affecting many parts and many countries in Africa, most countries indeed, but it has not reduced Africa's population, and it will not reduce Africa's population. And indeed, it is not desirable that that is the way to reduce Africa's population. And therefore, what is the discourse today? What's the dialogue? The dialogue is more about what is the right population for countries, for societies, for different segments in Africa. I would like to share with you the fact that Africa's population today is put at about 922 million, and by about 2010 it is expected to be about 1.2 million. The growth rate of population in most countries is more than 5.0%, what we call the fertility rate, well beyond the growth rate of population in any other part of the world, be it Asia or Latin America. So Africa's population is growing at a rate where in about 25 years it could double overall. So the question that comes to mind is, if Africa will get out of poverty, if macro growth is going to translate into micro growth, is the population that Africa has today and we have in the future, is this a burden or is it an asset? And there's no way that we here can determine or answer that question. Indeed, we should not. It is a question that should be answered by each country, by each community, by each society.